Have you ever noticed that after you stop contacting her about everything, she suddenly posts more, looks better, and sometimes even gives you subtle clues? Well, here's the twist. It's not merely to grab your attention, but what if I told you that the shock has a psychological component, her need to regain control? In the following few minutes, you'll learn exactly what occurs when you pull back and the unexpected causes of her reactions. This isn't just another dating game trick. It's an understanding of how attraction actually functions. Section 1 describes the initial shock and her urge to regain control. When you cease contacting her, it sets off a chain reaction of psychological and emotional responses in her. At first, she feels shocked. This isn't a slight, transient surprise. Rather, it's a sudden disturbance of her daily routine. If you've been in regular contact with her, she's likely grown accustomed to receiving your texts, calls, or messages. You've established a routine, and its absence leaves her feeling as though something significant is absent, leading to a sense of unease and distress. The gap widens with each hour that passes without communication. It's not just curiosity that emerges here. There's a deep-seated urge to comprehend why you've retreated when someone's presence was as constant as yours was. People often assume that contact will always exist, so when it unexpectedly ends, her thoughts may wander, leading her to question whether she did anything wrong or if he has lost interest. She will obsess over her previous exchanges with you, reliving them and scrutinizing each word and gesture in an attempt to provide an explanation. Her pursuit of reattraction, scarcity attracts. Her responses begin to consume her as she not only misses your words, but also the assurance and approval they provide. Psychologically, humans crave stability and control, especially in social relationships. We tend to feel secure when we can predict and rely on the actions of others, so when you withdraw, she feels a loss of control. This isn't something people easily accept. Her mind instinctively tries to regain that control by thinking of ways to pull you back into communication. She may express this through subtle social media posts, indirect messages, or sudden attempts to reach out casually. However, it's important to understand that these gestures are deliberate, even if subconscious, as she strives to return to a familiar situation. Presence. By remaining calm and composed, you communicate that your value is independent of her reaction, allowing her to reassess her own intentions and interest in a meaningful way. Method. The reattraction response in Section 2 explains why, after the initial shock, she feels pulled to you. People typically appreciate things that appear limited or rare, and when you're no longer around all the time, she starts to feel that sense of scarcity that existed before you were easily accessible. This phenomenon is referred to as the scarcity effect, and it gradually diminishes. Calls were answered without reluctance, and texts were easily shared, but now in your social signals, showing off her best self. When you stop talking to her, her mind goes into overdrive trying to figure out why she's not only curious about where you are and what you're doing, but also intrigued by the mystery that now surrounds you. This heightened curiosity creates a deep psychological pull that draws her toward you as she ponders questions she wouldn't have given a second thought to before. She suddenly finds herself wondering what he's up to, who he's with, and whether he is thinking about me. She keeps thinking about these issues, and the more she considers you, the more involved she gets. When something that was once easily accessible becomes elusive, she begins to re-evaluate her feelings for you and even romanticizes the connection in her mind. Because she's not accustomed to your absence, and it's no longer about regular texts or predictable calls, the mystery surrounding you makes you seem more valuable and desirable than before. This new level of interest is not accidental, rather, it's a natural reaction. By avoiding the impulse to reach out, You give her the opportunity to heal from the void that has suddenly made her realize how much she misses what you brought into her life. Curiosity sparks a deeper and more intense reattraction than previously described in Section 3 of the social signal. Why does she make an effort to present her best self? A visible shift in her behavior on social media, where she starts posting more regularly and carefully selecting photos and captions that convey an exciting lifestyle, is one of the most obvious indications that she's feeling the effects of your absence. Seeking attention in other places, a validation trap, contentment and beauty. These aren't just random posts, they're calculated signals aimed at you. When they perceive scrutiny, particularly from someone they hold dear or wish to impress, people tend to showcase their best qualities. You'll see pictures of her looking her best with friends or attending events she hadn't previously mentioned. These posts are indirect messages that say, "Look at me. I'm prospering without you," is her way of expressing her independence and giving you a glimpse of the life she wants you to think she's leading. But behind this outward show, she has a deeper goal. She wants to elicit a response to see whether these carefully chosen photos will cause you to think again. In addition to getting attention, she wants to make you see her as valuable and someone you'd regret not being with. Your decision to stop this behavior stems from a psychological need to feel wanted and validated by showing off her best self. She intentionally writes these posts to provoke a response from you, be it jealousy, curiosity, or intrigue. However, by comprehending her motivation, you can resist the urge to react too quickly. Instead, by maintaining your composure and avoiding her attempts at control, see Section 4, the validation trap, you can prevent yourself from succumbing to her attempts to seek attention elsewhere. If her attempts to subtly reach out don't get the response she wants, she may begin looking for attention elsewhere. Spending more time with friends, going to more social gatherings, or even initially pursuing new romantic interests could all be part of this. The pivotal moment, understanding what's absent. It may seem like she's moved on or forgotten you, but this is often a coping mechanism. This behavior doesn't necessarily mean that she has lost interest in you. Rather, it's more about filling the void left by your absence. By realizing this, you can prevent yourself from reacting impulsively and let her experience the natural consequence of losing your attention. People naturally seek external validation when they feel uncertain or insecure, and in your absence, she's struggling with both, lacking the reassurance that your attention once provided her. Her activities are probably just fleeting diversions rather than real changes in her affections for you. She's trying to regain her sense of worth by trying to get approval from other people. When you don't respond to her attempts to seek approval elsewhere, it's common for someone in a partnership to experience a psychological reaction, feeling as though they've lost a meaningful connection. By communicating your groundedness, unaffectedness, and confidence, you reinforce your position as someone who doesn't need to compete for attention, thereby enhancing your attractiveness. According to her, by refusing to let these transient diversions affect how you respond, you preserve your own worth while enabling her to understand that the approval she really seeks originates from a sincere connection rather than transient social exchanges. After passing through several phases of coping and distraction, she reaches a vital turning point in Section 5, where she recognizes what's missing. This is the moment when she truly comprehends the extent of your absence, surpassing the initial feeling. Patience, the power of composure. After experiencing shock or making an effort to regain control, she begins to consider the qualities you brought to her life, the stability you may have taken for granted, and the unique qualities you possess. It takes her some time to realize that your presence was a source of interest and comfort that she might not have found elsewhere. Not only does she miss the calls and texts, but she also misses the emotional stability and camaraderie she experienced with you. She begins to realize that the other forms of approval she pursued don't offer the same level of satisfaction or depth. She now understands that her bond with you is irreplaceable. Section 6. Your next move. Why patience and compassion matter. When she starts displaying renewed interest, it's normal to feel tempted to jump right back into communication, but patience and composure are your strongest allies. By maintaining your composure and grounding throughout this process, you empower her to reach this pivotal moment independently as she acknowledges and appreciates your contribution to her life. The fleeting distractions and social signals fade in importance, leaving her with an unmistakable sense of missing something important. This depth of realization often leads her to the decision to reconnect genuinely, not out of habit or convenience, but because she truly understands your unique value. By remaining still, you reaffirm that your time and focus are valuable and not freely offered. Less is more now that she has returned. This strategy isn't about playing games. Rather, it's about establishing a standard for the type of connection you want to have. When you remain calm, you're communicating that you're self-assured and don't need her attention to feel validated. This builds a level of respect and interest around you as she starts to see you as someone who values their own worth, rather than just as a romantic interest. It's a subtle but effective way to command respect and admiration. By being patient, you enable her to invest more genuinely in the connection, laying the groundwork for a relationship based on mutual respect rather than rash decisions. Your poise sets the tone for the partnership by showing that you earn your attention rather than expecting it. This degree of self-respect not only increases your attractiveness, but also creates the framework for a more balanced and healthy relationship. Section 7. The power of silence, why less is more, explains that silence, when skillfully employed, can often convey more than words, making it a powerful tool in relationships. When you stop talking, you're not only giving her more space to reflect, but you're also giving her the opportunity to live her life independently of you, which can result in profound realizations. She faces her own emotions in this quiet, free from the distraction of constant communication. She starts to perceive the gap, sense your absence, and consider its true significance. She begins to recognize the importance of your self-focus, re-establishing your value and companionship in this quiet. By embracing stillness, you give her the freedom to focus on her own feelings and ideas, enabling her to more fully experience your absence. This is about establishing a respectful distance that allows her to completely comprehend her own feelings, not about ignoring her or being difficult to understand. Silence's strength lies in its ability to communicate effectively without words, allowing her to grasp the importance of your presence independently. Section 8. Restoring your own value. The ability to concentrate on herself while managing her own reactions. When you cease interacting with her, you're not merely putting your attention away from her. Rather, you're refocusing it on yourself. Now is the moment to concentrate on your objectives, interests, passions, and personal development. By emphasizing self-improvement, you affirm your own worth and show that you don't need approval from others to feel fulfilled. When she sees you succeeding, it always increases your attractiveness because it conveys confidence. Self-focus is a powerful way to establish your worth. It allows you to grow as a person and increases the value you bring to any relationship. When you invest in yourself, you become someone who naturally attracts people as they recognize the strength and purpose you embody. In addition to her, independence and ambition make you attractive in all areas of life. Section 9. Allowing her to start the real test of interest. One of the best indicators of sincere interest is if she makes the first move to get in touch. Stepping back and allowing her to reach out gives her the opportunity to choose whether the connection is worthwhile. If she does, it's an obvious indication that she values the relationship enough to act on it rather than just savoring your attention. Allowing her to make contact is about establishing a boundary that promotes sincere effort, not about being passive. Waiting for her to initiate contact demonstrates your openness to relationships based on respect and interest, rather than your willingness to pursue or coerce anything. This approach ensures a balanced relationship where both parties actively choose to engage, establishes a foundation based on mutual interest and effort, and fosters a more satisfying and sincere connection. You establish a dynamic that values and respects your attention. Section 10. Upholding your standards and establishing a long-lasting relationship. Pulling back gives you the opportunity to express your own standards and sets a precedent for the type of connection you're willing to have, in addition to merely establishing distance. You will naturally draw others who share your beliefs if you make it clear that respect, dedication, and mutual interest are your top priorities. It's not about upholding your standards. Creating a durable bond. It's not about being strict or unyielding. Rather, it's about establishing a relationship that aligns with your own principles and goals. By upholding your standards, you create a relationship dynamic based on respect, interest, and commitment. This ensures that individuals who join your life possess a clear understanding of your values and eliminates those who don't truly care about you, leading to a relationship that is more fulfilling and authentic. This strategy not only increases your own worth, but also creates a long-lasting bond based on sincere respect and gratitude. Section 11. The ultimate effect. Why does she perceive you differently? After experiencing life without you, she gets a fresh perspective on who you are and what you bring to her life. This goes beyond final impact, why she views you differently. Rekindling attraction is about appreciating your special traits on a deeper level. Your absence gives her a fresh perspective on you that is unencumbered by usual predictability. This shift holds significance as it no longer relies on fleeting emotions or superficial beauty. It's an acknowledgement of the special influence you had on her life, and acknowledgement carries with it genuine admiration. By stepping back and allowing her to navigate this journey, you enhance your own value and establish a foundation for a relationship built on respect, genuine interest, and mutual appreciation.